Well, here it is. This is the final video for the Great Loop that I just finished. We just left Cedar Key and we're heading down to Tarpon Springs right now. Uh, I've been to Tarpon Springs a couple of times and I've really enjoyed that area. It's like a Greek community. Uh, a lot of sponge diving boats are there. And that's kind of what they're mainly known for is the sponges that they used to go harvest and sell there at Tarpon Springs. It does have a kind of like a Greek feeling to it. They have speakers all over the little area there, the little historic area, and they're playing Greek music all day long and all night, I think. I'm not sure how late at night they play, but it's always Greek music playing as you're walking up and down the little historical area, which is right along the river. Um, and you'll be able to see some of the shops and everything. This is all a no wake zone here, so it's going to take us a while just to get to downtown historic Tarpon Springs. But I'll be staying here a couple days, and after that, you're also going to see in this video when we take off and we start heading to Tampa Bay, which is the last stop I'll be making. Just wanted to go ahead and kind of give you an insight of my trip and what I think about it. Uh, Total trip was 5,500 miles. Uh, there is a longer little route that you could have taken, which would take you 6,000 miles and an additional 500 miles. But that's mainly a trip that's taken by the sailboats and the bigger boats that can't go through the Erie Canal uh, because of the mass and stuff like that. But I decided because I'm only in a little 22-foot sea dory, I wouldn't have a problem getting underneath any of the bridges. So my total trip was 5,500 miles from leaving Tampa Bay and coming back to Tampa Bay. The trip itself, it's an adventure of a lifetime, in my opinion. Uh, if I have the option and I had the funds to do it again, I would definitely do it again. Um, I had kind of calculated by reading old posts about doing the Great Loop. I'd kind of had a general idea, and most people were saying when I was making some posts about doing the Great Loop is to probably my cost was probably going to be about $10,000 to do the trip, including fuel, marinas, and food and everything else. Uh, Kind of camping it, not really, spending a lot of time in hotel rooms or anything like that, but mainly camping on my boat, which is what I call it. It's a 22 footer, 90 horsepower outboard on it. So didn't expect a whole lot of luxury amendments, but that's the way it goes. I had kind of thought, well, I'm running a 90 horse. It was an Evinrude E-Tech 90 horsepower outboard, which is a two-stroke, but it is fuel injected and it was also oil injected. Uh, Also, they're not as loud as the old two-strokes used to be. That was my biggest fear when I took off Tampa back in May. Wasn't sure whether this outboard could actually handle that kind of miles, the 5,500 mile run. But I figured, well, I kind of had an additional $10,000 allocated to put a new motor if it needed to. If for some reason this motor didn't make it, I had an additional 10,000 set aside to put a motor on the boat and continue the trip. Luckily for me, I did have to replace the lower unit, but that was about it. The motor kept run fine. Uh, Very happy, very pleased with that. As far as the adventure, it's a one in a lifetime adventure. Like I said, I would gladly do it again. Uh, there are some things you need to watch out. You have to figure it's a 22-foot boat, so weather was one of the biggest factors that you have to watch out for. Uh, need to be able to scoot into a little cove or a little creek or get away from a storm that's heading your way and either outrun it or hide in a little cove somewhere and wait for it to go by. And I did run into situations like that quite a few times. Crossing the Chesapeake Bay, that's a long run. Uh, Crossing the three lakes, Lake Huron, Lake Erie, and Lake Michigan. That was also kind of exciting. Uh, I did have a couple times where it was kind of questionable about should I have taken off after checking the weather, but I managed and I made it. So if anyone thinking about doing the loop, that would be my one concern, is that always check your weather before you go out in the mornings. Even though I checked it at night, I would also check it in the mornings just to make sure. Here we are in Tarpon Springs here, and here's a little building that I found where they talk about the history of Tarpon Springs. They tell you about the sponges and how it got started, how all the boats around here would go out, and pick up sponges, harvest sponges off the Gulf there. And it's not just in this area that grows sponges. It actually grows all over Florida on the Gulf side. It's just that for some reason, I guess, the Greeks decided to start here. And this is like a little store here, and you can buy sponges fresh off the boats and stuff like that. And of course, they sell little knickknacks here and there about everything. They also have a little room where you can walk into, and and you can sit down and watch a video, which is this right here, explaining everything about sponges and everything. Out here, they have pontoon dolphin cruises, where they have these boats that'll take you out and dolphin hunting, and they'll also show you about the areas and the places that the sponge boats would go. They still go, not as often, I don't think, as they used to, but they still go out there sponge hunting and everything. It's a very interesting little town. I enjoyed staying here. We've been here before. We had driven from Tampa to Tarpon Springs here, just to walk up and down the little historic site and see the sponge boats. Every once in a while, you see a sponge boat coming in with all kinds of sponges on them. It's very interesting, very Greek style area. Greek restaurants. There's quite a few Greek restaurants that have very, very good food. I enjoyed all the restaurants where I sat down and had lunch for the couple of days that I was here. This is not all Tarpon Springs. This is basically the historic area of Tarpon Springs. Tarpon Springs is a lot bigger than just this one walkway here, but it's very interesting, and anybody who has a chance to come out here, it's nice to see. I mean, it's a good place to come and just spend a day one day. Anyway, after doing 2 days here, I went ahead and left and took off, and it was going to be from the following day when I took off, it was going to be a straight shot all the way to Tampa Bay, back to where I started, which is Simmons Park, right out in Ruskin, Florida, which is where I started off, and that's where I'll be putting the boat back in on the trailer, as you will see later on today. But also another thing that I wanted to say about the trip is that it's so many things to see as you're making the trip. you really don't have enough time to see everything. Uh, I wish I would have had more. I wasn't on a time schedule, but I did want to keep moving because you do have to finish within a certain months to ensure that you're not stuck up north during the winter time. And then you'd have to put your boat out of the water and leave and then come back next time and finish your trip. So you are kind of in a timeline, but there's plenty of times I wish I would have stayed a little bit longer in some other places, and because it really is. There's so many things to see, uh, and I kind of looked at things that I wish I could have stayed longer. I almost went right by Niagara Falls until a couple that were on a boat said, it's unbelievable. You're coming all the way from Tampa, Florida, and you're going right by on the Erie Canal here, and you're going right by Lake Erie, and you're not going to go to the to Niagara Falls. So here's a good party boat, pontoon boat that I seen here. They were going to use it as a charter, but then I saw it up for sale. So anyway, going back to my trip, I mean, there were so many things that I wish I still could have seen, and after I went by them, I realized I missed this, I missed that. So I don't think you can see everything you want to see the first time around, and that's what I was saying, that I would like to maybe do it again, if I can figure out a budget on this. Now, the bigger boats, their budget is quite a lot bigger than mine was. Okay, you have to realize that I'm running a 22-foot boat with a 90 horsepower outboard motor. So you would think, hey, your fuel, since it's fuel injected, your fuel is going to be great. You're putting along. You're not pushing a big boat, so you're gonna do fine as far as economically. You're running as economically as you can, as anybody else would. My total cost on the trip, when I got back to Tampa Bay and I figured up everything, I had kind of put X amount of dollars into an account where that was only for the trip only. I didn't use that account for anything else except the trip. So by the time I got done and I got back to Tampa, I had gone through $22,000 total, which I was told was only going to be about half of that. I was told I was going to probably be able to make the trip with $10,000, mainly because I was running a small boat, small motor. But what I didn't take into effect is that I took this trip when gas prices were high. And when gas prices are high in a regular gas station, well, it adds another $1.50, some places $1.75 more when you pick up fuel at a marina. So I paid all the way up to $7.80 a gallon in some areas, and that really was what jacked up my price as far as my fuel. It cost me a lot more in fuel than I thought it was. Everything else was kind of okay, but yeah, that was my budget, and that's what it kind of took to do the trip on a small boat. $22,000. Uh, Not bad. I mean, I enjoyed. I mean, when you figure you traveled for 8 months, 7 months, you enjoyed the trip. I know I'm just now posting this, but I actually finished the trip way uh, back in November. By about the 10th, 11th of November, I had actually finished the trip. It's just I've been busy and I've been editing different films and stuff, so I'm trying to get this done. But this is the last video you're going to see on the Great Loop. I also, when I took off, I have a friend of mine that I've known since we were in school together. And he had cancer that had spread all over his body already. And he kept watching every video. And he texts me every time I posted the video. He would text me. And I had made a promise to him that I would come back and I would give him the flag that I was flying from the American Greatloop Association. So that flag flew, and you normally fly that flag to let people know that, hey, I'm on the Great Loop. So I kind of told him, I said, hang in there, and I want to bring you this flag as soon as I get back. Here I am, finally made it to the dock, and I'm putting the boat in. But anyway, I went ahead and put the boat back on the water and everything, and decided, that I was going to get me some airline tickets and fly to see my friend and give him the flag that I had flown while I was doing the Great Loop. And unfortunately, when I got there, the day I got there, he had passed away the day before. So I kind of missed delivering the flag to him. We were friends for a long time. And I just wish I could have at least been there to give it to him. But anyway, I did miss him by one day. But I went ahead and gave it to his son, his youngest son, and told him, all about the trip, which my friend and his son were watching all the videos. Every time I would post the videos, they would watch it. Unfortunately, he's not going to see this one, but he was a good friend. He's going to be missed, but in my eyes, he'll never be forgotten. This was for you, Alfred. And hopefully someday maybe we'll be talking about the trip that I did. But anyway, it was truly something that if you get the opportunity to do, you should do. The Great Loop, it's exciting. So many things to see, so many people that you talk to. And for the most part, you run into one or two bad people, but all the good people that you run into way, way outweigh the 2 or 3 bad people that you run into. I'm not going to mention any names or any places or anything about that because I don't want to do anything like that. That's not that wasn't my trip, okay? I would like to say, that my next trip is not going to be on this boat. I bought this boat specifically to do the Great Loop, and it's already sold. I bought another boat already, which I'm getting ready to do another adventure here. This is probably the only time you'll see me on this video. And right now, here I am traveling, and I'm cruising right at about 12 miles an hour. You can see the water behind us moving, and you can see I'm moving pretty good, pretty nice. And you can see I'm checking. I've got my tablet where I also have a map, and I'm checking to see where the depths are on the river here to ensure that I don't run aground. Even though I do have a depth finder, at the speed I'm going, by the time I hit something, by the time it gets shallows, it'll be too late for me to stop. So what I do is I just check my tablet and just watch. It does pretty good because it updates from satellites. That website, it updates and tells you where the shallow waters are. And here's my friend, and like I said, he's gonna be missed, but he'll never be forgotten. He was a good friend, and I wish I could have made it and been able to give him the flag. I went ahead and gave the flag to his son. That's it for today. Thank you.